Welcome to the GoOutLiving Attitude, a cancer survivor's journey through health and wellness, helping others search for the tools to bring us a healthier and happier lifestyle. Hi, everybody. Jonathan Brandt, GoOutLiving. Today, I wanted to talk about sustainability and longevity and how those kind of relate. And it really goes back to, again, pre-cancer, where sustainability wise, I was not keeping up with things that I really felt like I could sustain because I didn't really think about it. And I would just go in and I was very up and down. I mean, I worked out all the time, but I didn't really have a plan. And I'd go in and, okay, let's see how many I can do, push-ups or sit-ups, or I had some other equipment. And okay, let's go. Like I said, when I first got diagnosed with the cancer, I was like, let's go do a 5K. A lot of stuff I did pre-cancer just was not sustainable because one, I wasn't looking at it in a sustainable way. I wasn't goal orientated as far as, okay, these are my short-term goals, but what is the actual long-term goal? I didn't really think about the health part of it. I didn't think about the holistic part of it. I was simply, okay, let's go work out. I enjoyed it, but a lot of it, again, I didn't keep up with. And I would switch. I'd go back and forth between things. So overall, I really wasn't getting what my full potential could have been because I was not doing my workouts. I was not doing my cardio in a very sustainable way. So, what do we mean by sustainability or sustainable health? I guess is another way to mention it. To me, it means that you look at it for the long term. Yes, you start off with the SMART goals. Yes, you start off with, okay, with this week, I am going to accomplish this. And let's say we are talking about push-ups. When you're first starting, you need to start slow. And that's what I didn't do. I always wanted to jump straight in and I'm just going to do as many as I can constantly. Well, it's proven that doesn't actually help when we're talking about strength, when we're talking about uh, how our muscles are reacting to that. They say don't actually do it till you're dead tired or you just can't do it anymore. Stop ahead. So let's say you're doing 5 sets and you're just getting started. If you're just out there and you're pumping them out and then you're just going to the very end at the time, let's say I could do 20 or 10, whatever. But I would just go straight to that every time and it wore me out. I didn't see a lot of progress either. And what happens then? I don't want to do it anymore. Cardio was the same way. Okay, all of a sudden I'm going to be I'm going to run these 5K or I'm going to start running out of the blue. And I'm not going to really train very hard. Well, I'm going to train, but I'm not going to have a plan to do it. And that's how I did everything. As I got the cancer diagnosis, things changed a little bit. It changed in a sense that I mentally knew I needed to keep up my strength throughout my cancer fight, throughout the treatments. So that did change how many times I was doing it a week. It changed kind of what I was doing. I was being a little bit more mindful of my actual exercises and fitness. So I believe I started to understand a little bit more about the sustainability part of it. And that also went with nutrition. I wasn't bad. I was taking food to work, for instance. I wasn't just going through fast food, but I needed to narrow things down a little bit and not, yeah, once in a while we can break from it and do a night out or whatever. But for it to be sustainable, especially from the health standpoint, you really have to have a plan going into it. So again, as I got diagnosed with the nutrition side, still struggled a bit. I really did. And a lot of that, it's so easy to blame everybody else, right? But in reality, it was me. I needed to understand because you need to do these things for yourself. So I needed to do a lot better from the nutrition side. I needed to do it looking at the long term, looking at it from a sustainability standpoint. And it took me some time to do that. It took me gaining 60 pounds to finally figure out I need to change that part of it. And I did. I started eating better. And I really had a good plan going into it. Okay, this is what I'm going to have for breakfast. This is going to be my lunch. This is going to be my dinner. Then I started going around that and saying, okay, if I need snacks, what are my snacks? Well, I do a lot of nuts now. I do macadamia nuts and Brazilian nuts. So that was for me. I also do a little yogurt, little cottage cheese. I changed things up a little bit. I love avocados as well. So I throw those in there. But it really started with a plan, knowing I needed to change how I was looking at my nutrition so I could sustain it. Why is sustainability so important when we talk about nutrition? Well, we don't want to go up and down. And when we talk about blood sugars, for instance, if you're throwing in a bunch of sugary drinks, we know that doesn't last. So you're going sky high, then you're dropping, and you feel that. When we start adding a lot of salts and like even sugars for our food itself, again, we're seeing spikes, we're seeing higher blood pressures, we're seeing from a physical standpoint is not very good for you. And it's, again, sustainable? No. I mean, it's sustainable until you're probably not here anymore if you maintain that up and down diet or that up and down nutrition. I don't like diet. So again, I needed to level that out. I knew I needed to take a little bit of salt out of. I didn't do a lot of salt before, but I wanted to take a little bit more out. I definitely cut back on sugars and carbohydrates just because I knew myself and I could feel those up and downs when I'd have, okay, a Monster, or when I had, well, we'll have some ice cream, or drinking was my big one. I was getting a lot of empty calories, a lot of carbs, a lot of sugars that I just didn't need. And I didn't feel good. And it wasn't sustainable. Again, I gained 60 pounds and I was still working out every day. So, from a nutrition side, I really had to step up. I really had to do better planning. And I had to understand it was for myself to sustain a healthier life from the nutrition. I did that. I lost 60 pounds, 65 pounds, whatever it is. And I've maintained that. It's been sustainable. Now, yeah, you have your ups and downs in there. You're going to go out once in a while. I'll be honest, this summer has proven to be pretty tricky for me. We're just trying to spend as much time with my son, for instance, or my daughter with the kids. We want to go out, we want to do things. So it's been a little bit more taxing on me to keep that nutrition side of it. So I have to get back to being a little bit more strict with myself so I can get back to that sustainability from the health standpoint. That also leads into longevity, doesn't it? Because again, if we're healthier now, we can be healthier then. And there's that longevity part of it. We can get back into the fitness part. I changed how I did fitness. Like I said, after I gained the 65 pounds, I really needed to really look at everything I was doing. And the fitness side, the cardio side was a huge part of that because it wasn't working what I was doing. I was working out 3-4 hours a day. I was still gaining. Was it just all nutrition? Was it because I was working out wrong? I believe so. I wasn't looking at it for the long term. I was just trying to get in there. Like I said, I did that 5K just to prove something, but did it help me with sustainability, longevity? No, not at all. It was not a fun day, to be honest. Yeah, it felt good to succeed in doing that, but overall, it's like, man, I don't feel good. So, uh, yeah, it didn't get me to the long game. And that's what all this is about. So I went back to the drawing board. That's when I really got into the holistics. That's when I really got into the personal trainer because I wanted to learn for myself. learning can be very powerful. And especially if you're trying to do it for yourself, you start to understand what works and what doesn't, not only for yourself, but possibly for others. So I've really enjoyed the learning part of it. I've enjoyed getting all these certificates. I enjoy working with others to help them. So I went back to the drawing board, like I said. I started with some fit exercises, or I'm sorry, hit exercises, not fit, but hit exercises, which is high intensity. So I got away from doing the 3, 4 hours a day, and I was able to pack it all into an hour. And I was more mindful of how I was doing my weights, for instance. I got away from, I got more into kettlebells and away from some other things that just, honestly, I wasn't getting any strength out of doing it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't really get a whole lot. It was called the Total Gym. Uh, Again, I enjoyed it. I didn't see a big change in my strength. So I went to a kettlebell. And again, I'm in an apartment, so I can't have a lot of equipment. So I had to be, again, very mindful of what I did. And I started looking at it in the long term. Well, how can I change the long term part of it, the sustainability part of it? By slowly growing, by slowly gaining performance, strength. I want to do more as well. So I would go from, okay, let's start with I don't even remember what I started. I had the weight restriction. So 15-pound kettlebell, maybe not a lot because I couldn't do a lot because I was coming out of surgery. Actually, I think it was 25 pounds. I was coming out of surgery. So I had to be very careful with what I did, but I had a plan. Okay, I'm going to start with this many and I'm going to continue to add to that. That gives me the strength I need, especially coming out of the surgery. But it's something that I'm going to be able to sustain as well because I'm not burning myself out right away. Then I can add weight or I can add more reps. Either way, that's what I've been doing. I've loved it. I'm now up to a 60-pound kettlebell. So it's worked for me. Yes, it's been a little over a year. I've taken my time with it because, again, it's not for the short term, it's for the long term, it's for the sustainability and longevity of it all. So people need to be more mindful of what all that means. And for sustainability, for sustainable health and longevity, that's how I've started understanding it, by being mindful of what I do, how it interacts with myself or reacts to my body, and what it's going to do for the future. So again, I'm really being more thoughtful with everything I do, from the nutrition, from the physical, from the cardio, and guess what? The spiritual side. So now we're getting into holistics, aren't we? Mind, body, soul. And again, I'm slowly getting into that because, again, I think people want to jump, but that's not very sustainable. You don't enjoy it doing it that way. Maybe you will. Maybe some people will. But for me, I don't. If I jump too quickly into something, it burns me out and I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm taking things slow because, again, I want this to last the long term. So that's what sustainability, that's what longevity means to me. It means taking it slow, having a plan, understanding where I want to go. Again, the long game for me is to be there for my kids. That's the long game. And if I can do it with better performance, if I can do it with strength, with cardiovascular, with great blood work coming back, trying to figure out my guts, that's all for a sustainable health and longevity future. So that's how I look at it all. Again, just by being more mindful. All right, everybody. That's what I got for today. Sustainable health and longevity. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you all for listening. And as we continue our health and wellness journeys, find the attitude, keep the attitude, go out living. Bye, everybody.